Hey, Joe Pane here. Episode 94 of Insights has just dropped, and this episode focuses on the one psychological obstacle, the only psychological obstacle that we all need to overcome in order to live our dreams and be free of the hamster wheel forever. So I hope you enjoy this one. Bye for now. Hey everyone, Joe here. Welcome to episode 94 of Insights. I hope you're doing great. My Lord, this is the second one for the month. How incredible. I'm on a roll. So welcome again to 2024. I trust and hope that you caught the first episode this year just a couple of weeks ago. So here we are. Look, this particular episode, I'm going to explore a very specific area of emotional fitness. As we know, emotional fitness based on my work is defined or measured pretty much by the quality of our relationship with uncertainty. Now, a big part of our relationship with uncertainty, of course, has got to do with our capacity or willingness or intention or wantingness of getting out of our comfort zone. And to explore this more thoroughly, I'm going to center this episode around a quote I want to share with you from a mystic whose name is Terrence McKenna. That's McKenna, if you want to look up Terrence McKenna. He's a fascinating fellow. And he was a well-known mystic, and a lot of his work was also working with plants in all kinds of ways. So I'll leave you in your own time to look him up. So Terrence McKenna, I've got a quote here I want to share with you that is going to really help us explore our relationship with uncertainty via getting into our uncomfortable zones in a way that I hope inspires you to take action with whatever you feel that you need to decide and take action on this year. So let's have a look at this quote. It's a paragraph long, but I'm going to sort of stop as we're going through it so I can share with you my insights into my take on what Terrence McKenna was talking about. So he opens this paragraph with saying that nature loves courage. That's the first statement. Now, I want to explore this more deeply. What does this mean, nature loves courage? Now, if you think about it, nature is who we are. The existential, essential, the essence of us, our soul, our spirit, our consciousness, call it whatever you want. That ethereal part of us is nature. Like, we are aligned to nature. The more aligned we are with the way nature thinks, the more at peace we are, the more at flow we are, the more in rhythm we are. And nature, he says, loves courage. Now, most people have got a block to this. They've got a block to their sense of courage because they're blocked by their mind. They're blocked by their ego. Ego, mind, ego, same thing. And the ego is a massive fan of two things. It's a fan of drama, and it's a fan of complexity. It knows that to keep control of the narrative, as long as it makes things complex and creates drama to distract us, then it knows that we can't really embrace or discover the potential that already exists within us. So let me just go over this again. So he opens this paragraph by saying, this is Terrence McKenna, he says, nature loves courage. And I'm sharing with you that most people have got a blocker to courage because of the addiction to drama and complexities that the ego loves. I mean, I'm sure you've all met someone who has continually, incessantly got dramas going on in their lives. I'm sure you know someone. And I'm only talking about people outside of this room that we're in here right now, right? We've all had dramas, I get it. But having that happen continually, so most of us are blocked to our connection with courage because of the complexities and the drama of our lives, because the drama distracts us from what matters, and the complexity of that drama keeps us engaged in it. So the way that we actually access courage is to undo that, is to let go of the things that don't matter, is to let go of the need to prove and defend ourselves, is to let go of anything associated with creating this drama. Now, he goes on to say, so nature loves courage, and he goes on to say, you make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. I love this. Let's have a look at what this means. Let me repeat that. He says, so nature loves courage. You make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Now, the impossible obstacle is what we perceive before we even begin. It's what we perceive before we even begin. So I'll give you some examples. I still remember back in late 1997 when I was told by my soon-to-be employer that to get the job in sales that I was applying for in this particular real estate firm, I needed to go out and cold call and door knock on the street and find leads to demonstrate my commitment to them and to what I wanted to, achieve with them. Now, the obstacle was all of the mind drama and ego drama that was going on within me, making up all these stories about something I knew nothing about. I had no idea what it was like to go out and door knock. It was like my mind and my ego, same thing, mind, ego, remember, this is the same thing, is my mind was making up all these stories around why it couldn't be done or why I shouldn't do it. Then there was the arrogance that came through. Oh, you've got a psychology degree. You've got a sociology degree. You're better than going out and door knocking the street. All of this stuff that was coming up. These are the impossible obstacles that I believe Terrence McKenna is talking about. And these impossible obstacles dissolve as you take action. So I remember procrastinating for a good half hour before I decided which door to go knock on, and I started. As soon as I started, there was this precious momentum that was created. It was inexplicable. It was surprising. It was pleasantly surprising. And I got on with door knocking and speaking to people. It was wonderful. I mean, I met some fascinating people. I met lots of amazing people. It was incredible. And I door knocked for the whole weekend. I ended up doing that for about a year, actually. Not every single day, but at least 3 or 4 days a week, I was out in the streets meeting new people. And what it did for my self-esteem, my self-confidence, and ultimately my self-trust was massive. No book could come anywhere near it. It's like, learning how to swim. You can read all the books you want in the universe on swimming. Nothing beats getting into the pool. Nothing beats it. So let's go back to Terrence McKenna's quote here. Nature loves courage. You make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. So the impossible obstacle is something that lives in our imagination. And I'm telling you now from all of the experiences of my life is that these perceived, let's say more accurately, these perceived impossible obstacles disappear, dissolve in front of our eyes as we progressively move toward that thing that is unknown to us. I'll give you a simple everyday example. So we know that these days in health and fitness that, breath work and ice baths are becoming part of the mainstream. And personally, I do a cold bath twice a week at my local gym here. They've got a bath that's about 8 degrees and they've got a hot bath that's 38 degrees and you alternate between the two. Now, the thing is that when I go into the cold bath, most weeks when I'm there, I notice people that have never done it before who come along. And it seems an impossible obstacle for them. Why? And it was for me at one point too. Let me explain this properly. So they come along and they put their foot in the water, just their foot. And the water is so starkly contrasted to the environment. I mean, here we are in Noosa in the middle of summer. It's sort of the temperature's hovering between 25 and 30 degrees pretty much 90% of the time. And so the contrast of an 8-degree water bath on your foot is quite contrasty, right? It's a lot. So they put their foot in there and then they take their foot out and they don't go in because it seems like an impossible obstacle. I was the same. I actually went to my first bath with a person who was quite experienced at one of my fellow runners who was quite experienced at these ice bath things. And she said to me, it's going to seem impossible. So what you do is you get in all the way up to your neck and it's still going to seem impossible. Just break through those first 60 seconds and your nervous system will calm down. Your body realizes that it's not going to die. You breathe through it. And next thing you know, you're on the other side of it and you're feeling amazing. Have you heard what I just said? I hope you have. Because water baths or ice baths, water baths, listen to that. Water bath, Joe, my God. An ice bath or a cold bath, to me, is such an accurate representation, metaphorically and literally, of how it is that we can create the life of our dreams, to create the freedom, the sovereignty, the autonomy that we are all wanting, that we all want, by simply applying the psychology of what Terrence McKenna is talking about here, and that is you make the commitment. So let's go back to the water bath. You make the commitment to get in all the way up to your neck. And nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Remember, the impossible obstacles are the obstacles projected by our mind, where our mind is projecting these obstacles onto something that it knows nothing about. Remember, it's got no reference points around this new thing. And the moment we get in, break through that first minute and get to the other side, those obstacles have dissolved. The obstacles that were in the mind previously have dissolved. I found the same when I was door knocking cold. This word cold seems to be coming up a bit. But when I was cold calling, it was the same thing. I got to experience this sweet momentum. And guys, just going out into the street and speaking to people, strangers, and finding business when I first started in the real estate world, which had a massive positive impact on when I started my coaching and training business. It just makes you feel like you can do anything that you set your mind to, truly. It's incredible. So let's go back to Terrence McKenna's words here, because we're only halfway through his paragraph, right? He says here, nature loves courage. Remember that the only blocker to courage that we have is our mind. You make the commitment to what matters, and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. He goes on to say, dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will instead lift you up. I love that. And he goes on to say, and I'll complete the paragraph, he says, this is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is how magic is done, by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed. Oh my God, I love that. So let me just now sing the whole song all in one go. In other words, let's read the whole paragraph out. So he says, nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. So in other words, remember the obstacles that are projected by our mind before we even begin. The trick is just get into the pool, just get started, get going, and the obstacles will dissolve. Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will instead lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is how magic is done, by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed. I was just recently talking to one of my clients who's a member of my emotional fitness program. And this particular client, for the first time ever, in the space of a week, created $50,000 in revenue, 50K in revenue in 1 week. She had never seen this in a month, let alone a week. In fact, for most of her life, it would take her at least half a year, if not more, to earn that kind of revenue. And this is the kind of breakthroughs that I'm talking about, is that when you truly embrace, as Terrence McKenna was saying there, the magic, when you commit fully to what it is that matters to you, when you commit fully and you take the action, take the step, get into the bath, go out and door knock, or whatever it might be, right? The new thing, the unfamiliar thing, the impossible obstacles that were there before in our minds dissolve, because we begin to realize that, as he says here, by hurling ourselves into the abyss, we discover that it's just a feather bed. That is so true. I can speak of volumes of that, And this is the thing, is that, and please email me directly, joe@joepane.com.au, if you disagree with what I'm about to say here. And I believe, as I mentioned just briefly earlier, about 5 minutes ago, I believe we all have the same goal, is to be free, is to have sovereignty, it's to be autonomous. In other words, to be living your life the way that you want to live it, to live your life unconditionally aligned to the values that are in your soul. You have that, you embrace that, you have a phenomenal life. Now, at the risk of sounding like a so-and-so, that's something that I've worked toward for a long time. And we have that, my wife and I. We have autonomy, we have sovereignty, we have freedom. We are no longer on the hamster wheel of life, 9 till 5 or whatever the metaphor might be. We're just simply not. And it's because we've discovered on the other side of the unknown is a feather bed. It's the classic cosmic joke. It really is. Our mind and our ego, like I highlight in my book, Courage to Be You, there's a story in there, a little metaphor that I share about the Wizard of Oz, how the characters discover that this big bad wizard with all the tricks is nothing more than a frail old man who is fearful of the characters themselves, of Dorothy and her gang. That they discover that he's just a frail old man, just with all the bells and the whistles and the buttons and the light show and the sound show, in order to scare people away, when in fact he was the one that was most scared. I love the words of James Wedmore, where he says it's about having faith over fear. Faith over fear. So this conversation that we're having, these insights that I'm sharing with you, I believe is a fundamental cornerstone of our relationship with uncertainty. It's massive, because if we don't commit and just step over the what's that saying? Step over the line, whatever it might be, just to go and have a go at something we've never done before. It is incredible how quickly the obstacles of our mind dissolve. Just in a heartbeat, in a moment, in a matter of minutes, or in a matter of hours, depending what it is that you're doing and what the context is. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So, and this was inspired by these wonderful words of Terrence McKenna. I'm going to read the quote one more time just to complete this, if that's all right with you. Nature loves courage, he says. Nature loves courage. You make the commitment and nature will respond to that commitment by removing impossible obstacles. Dream the impossible dream and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up instead. This is the trick. This is what all these teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is how magic is done, by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed. So your feather bed is there to be discovered, whatever level you're at. There's always another level. There's always something we can embrace that's new and unfamiliar. So I hope you find something inspirational and profoundly moving in something that I've shared with you here in the last 17, 18 minutes. Thank you so much for tuning in. And hey, if you want to explore these kinds of conversations more deeply and more profoundly, you may or may not be aware that soon I've got a free public event called the 2024 Uncertainty Mastery Bootcamp. We're kicking off on the 2nd of February. It's a 3-part series on Feb 2, Feb 6, Feb 8. And it's a 1 hour from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Melbourne, Sydney time. And we get to have the luxury of 3 1-hour sessions spread over a week where we get to explore this more thoroughly. And of course, we're going to go very deep into the realm of emotional fitness. And for those of you who want to continue the journey beyond those 3-part series, of course, you're more than welcome to join me on the longer journey where we get to really go a long way with how to massively boost our emotional fitness so we can handle whatever comes in very clear and certain ways. So there's a link here somewhere, or you can just simply go to joepane.com.au and you can register there for free. As I said, we kick off live at 11 a.m. Melbourne, Sydney time on Friday, the 2nd of February. Can't wait. This is the second time ever that I'm delivering this particular series of workshops. This one here has evolved massively from the first one that we delivered back in July last year. Can't wait to share with you, all my latest, new insights into how we can boost our emotional fitness, how it is that we can live our life, truly live a life of freedom, sovereignty, and autonomy. And can't wait to explore these with you. So if you're genuinely resonating with anything I've shared with you here, feel welcome to head over there. So joepane.com.au, you'll see it there on the front page. It pops up straight up. And it's a free training, the 2024 Uncertainty Mastery Bootcamp. All right, look forward to seeing you there if you can make it. And thanks so much for tuning in, and speak with you very soon, very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.